Hey there golf fans, James O'Malley here with a quick look at the world of golf for Monday, August 10th. We get straight to the big story of the week, which was the PGA Championship being held in San Francisco, the first major in over a year. Brooks Koepka came in as two-time defending champion and was only 2 off the lead heading into Sunday's final round, where Dustin Johnson held a one-shot advantage at 9 under par. Koepka made news after the third round, alluding to Johnson's single major title as an underachievement for someone with over 20 PGA Tour victories, while telling a reporter that he liked his own chances as a 4-time major winner. No spectators were allowed on the grounds, of course, but fans who tuned in on TV were treated to a tight and tense final round, where 7 players shared the lead at one point on the back 9. Koepka played the front 9 at 4 over par and was never a factor, as the tournament more or less came down to 2 key shots, both from 23-year-old Collin Morikawa. First chipping in for birdie on the 14th hole to take the lead, and then 2 holes later hitting an incredible tee shot on the drivable par 4 16th to 8 feet that he would then go on to convert for eagle and never look back. 43-year-old Paul Casey chased him the whole way but couldn't get mid-range birdie putts to fall on the last few holes to put real pressure on Morikawa, who wins his 3rd PGA Tour event and first major championship at the age of 23. The University of California grad was a 4-time All-American just a few miles away in Berkeley and said he'd played TPC Harding Park a dozen or so times while in college. Despite only turning pro last year, he now has as many major championships under his belt as he does miss cuts on tour. Looking elsewhere on the leaderboard, there was a 5-way tie for 5th that included Bryson DeChambeau, who was the pre-tournament betting favorite. He recorded his first ever top 5 in a major, shooting a 68 in the final round. Jon Rahm finished at 7 under, which was good for 13th place, more on him in a minute. Second round leader Haotong Li carded a 69 to finish at 6 under and 17th. Koepka dropped all the way to 29th following a 74. Tiger's new putter that he put into play this week finally warmed up, with the 15-time major winner firing a 67. Woods said before the round he just hoped to get back into red figures for the tournament, and he just managed to do that, finishing at 1 under par. World number 1 Justin Thomas failed to get it going all week and finished with Tiger in 37th. Thomas's lackluster performance, coupled with Rahm's 13th place finish, means Rahm jumps back up to number 1 in the world by a hair after just 1 week out of the top spot. Thomas drops down to number 2, with Rory McIlroy coming in at number 3. The Ulsterman finished in 33rd at the weekend at 2 under par. Dustin Johnson's tie for 2nd was good enough to move him up a spot to 4th, with our champion Collin Morikawa moving up to a career-high 5th, up 7 spots from 12th. Webb Simpson rounds out the top 6, down 2 from 4th last week, and Koepka continues his slide down the rankings to 7th, having begun the year at number 1. No real significant changes elsewhere in the top 12, with DeChambeau, Reed, and Scott all dropping a spot, while Xander Schauffele stays at 11 following a 10th place finish in San Francisco. Elsewhere, Tiger drops a spot to 16th following his 37th place finish. Paul Casey jumps 9 spots to 19 after his performance at Harding Park, finishing runner-up. Jason Day continues to climb back up the rankings. The former world number 1 was in the 60s just a few weeks ago. He's up 10 spots following another good performance, recording a tie for 4th. Morikawa's fellow young gun Matthew Wolff jumped from 53rd to 36th following his tie for 4th. Another player in that tie for 4th was Scottie Scheffler, who began the day a shot off the lead. He's up 13 places to 46th, and former world number 1 Jordan Spieth climbs 2 spots to 60th after finishing in joint 71st. The LPGA Tour was playing their 2nd event since the return, and for the 2nd straight week were outside of Toledo, Ohio, this time taking on the Highland Meadows course in Sylvania at the Marathon Classic. Former world number 1 New Zealand's Lydia Ko held the lead going into Sunday, hoping to capture her first victory in 2 years. The former child prodigy had had a rough run of form as of late, falling outside of the top 50 in the world, but with a 2-shot lead heading into the final round, things were beginning to look up. Unfortunately for Ko, things unraveled in the most disastrous of circumstances. Holding a 5-shot lead with 6 holes to play, she made 2 bogeys before recording a double on the 18th to hand Danielle Kang her 2nd victory in a row after winning last week at Inverness as well. Despite being just off the green and 2 on the par 5 last hole, she somehow managed to make a 7 when needing only a par for the win. Jody Ewart-Shadoff, who finished 5th last week, joined Ko in the runners-up spot. Just behind them in 4th was Minjee Lee, who herself recorded a 3rd place finish a week ago. Next week sees the women moving across the pond to play the Ladies Scottish Open. The European Tour was in Ware, England, just north of London this week for the English Championship, the 3rd leg of the Tour's 6th tournament UK swing. Englishman Andy Sullivan took a 5-shot lead into Sunday's final round, looking for his first victory in almost 5 years. The win never really looked in any danger as Sullivan carded a clutch 65 to seal his 4th career European Tour win, and first since the 2015 Portugal Masters. 19-year-old Dane Rasmus Højgaard continued his fine run of form as of late with his 3rd successive top 6 finish, firing a 64. The tour continues on to Wales next week for the Celtic Classic, the first of 2 straight events at the Celtic Manor Resort, site of the 2010 Ryder Cup. The Korn Ferry Tour was in Oregon for the Portland Open this week, where 25-year-old Lee Hodges held the lead after 3 rounds and was looking for his first career victory on the tour, coming in having finished in the top 20 in the last 5 events. The former University of Alabama player needed birdie on the final hole here last year to maintain his Korn Ferry Tour status, and came to the same hole this year needing only par for his maiden win. And again he managed to birdie it, this time to secure his place in the winner's circle and also earn an exemption into next month's U.S. Open in New York. Hodges moves up to 3rd in the top 25, virtually guaranteeing his place on the PGA Tour next year. Paul Barjon, who sits 5th in the top 25 standings, finished as part of a group of 4 in the runners-up spot, 2 shots back. The man who leads the standings, Will Zalatoris, finished 6th at 8 under par. The Korn Ferry Tour moves to Idaho next week for the Boise Open. That's a quick look at the world of golf for Monday, August 10th. Join me again here next week on Golf News Weekly.